It's also inequality in terms of power and the position of a country. I'm in a very personal situation. I wrote a very nice paper with Ukrainian scientists, Russian scientists, Dutch, German, and as well as I was the first author as an Indian. The carbon nanodots, which was created in Paladin Institute of Chemistry in Ukraine, in Kyiv, it's in a very bad shape. So how does science and technology gets affected by inequality, unequal power distribution? Can we comment on that a little bit?
Shall I go or you go, Mohan?
No, you go.
Well, this is again a very complex issue because most of the establishment of science in the world happened during the 19th century, early 20th century, during the expansion of European colonialism, and then was reinforced after the Second World War with the hegemony of the United States. So obviously, and of course the Cold War, everything we develop is in a complex dialogue between geopolitics and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. We're seeing it right now again. We can take one example and maybe it's easier to understand. I love physics of semiconductors because you can really see how geopolitics plays a role. So the first computer was built during the Manhattan Project. Johnny von Neumann talking to Turing, they were trying to prove the ideas of Gödel. It was a very esoteric purpose. But it was Edward Teller making the hydrogen bomb who got the funding to actually build the first computer. So here we see how things go. And then after the bombs were dropped on Japan, and the whole Asia and the whole world realized how important it was to get your physics quickly ready and get your bomb if you didn't want to get your second. And then is when, China, India, everybody was interested in learning physics. Japan manipulates, I think, very well the whole situation, sees the opportunity as an occupied power because they already had very good physicists before the war. And they say, we're going to go for semiconductors. So Esaki gets the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1953-54 for the semiconductor diet, something that never gets told in history of computing. The Japanese are forgotten, yet all our devices are made in Taiwan and Japan. So Japan takes the opportunity to build the computers because they realize this is their survival. This is how they will build a geopolitical survival. In the 1980s, the Americans get worried. They started a trade war because Japan has started to control all the machine making. And then suddenly that power goes quietly to South Korea and Taiwan. And now we have the Taiwan Semiconductor Company and Samsung are the only ones that can build semiconductors at 3 nanometers. And they're pushed by geopolitics for survival. Is the only way they manage to create the democracies, by balancing the power with the United States. We give you what you want, I give you what you want, and we keep you in your games with China. They wouldn't survive without being China. And now we have the next stage where China decides they don't want to be part of this anymore. And now, again, which might be good for computing. I just wrote an article that will come out next week in El País, a Spanish newspaper, that I think computing has been stuck now. You cannot make the transistor smaller than 2 nanometers. They spend way too much energy. A single training of a machine learning algorithm costs about $4 million. So we need new computers. We need maybe more analog biomorphic, more biological computers. And I guess this will come out of the new war, of the new Cold War. So I think science is always in a dialogue with geopolitics, and the countries that understand it do well. and they have the right situation. I don't think it's totally under your control. Certainly as a Spanish person, I see it very much what it means to be a weaker member of the European Union. They say, we're all abroad. All the scientists and technologies are in Germany or France or the UK. So so science and geopolitics are totally intertwined. Maybe Mohan can talk more about other countries in Asia.
One good thing is, I feel that in the future in science, wherever it is, you see more women than more proportion of women in semiconductors, in NASA, in India, a number of proportion that now you see women as much better. And I feel because of that, the possibility of decision making towards positive rather than negative kind of applications is more likely to happen. And I think because of that, also the science, I think the shift from, apart from this, is also to the to going to the new, going to the moon or going to Jupiter, or I think the whole idea of space will take a much greater part in the science and technology than in the past, because I think we're going that way, but the semiconductor story is not going to end yet, because I think that is probably going to be the big bubble now, because of whatever China, USA, and all that. You know, all this. What is probably sad, I don't know, or I am too pessimistic, is the role of Europe. It seems to be it's kind of reducing over time, even if so. May it be Germany, UK, or any other, France or Spain. The overall in the Europe is not playing that role intellectually as well as economically, and that's sad, because if that reduces, then you have a bipolar kind of I think from US at one end and the China on the other side, whatever, and so it's likely to be a dangerous, explosive situation, or we don't know. So, but the role of Europe, I personally feel, if we could get more women into this science thing, I mean, we will have a much better possibility of peace or positive discrimination or better products. That is evident now. More and more women join the science and technology. I think that would play a positive role in any case.
I had a separate follow-up question, but Sonia, would you like to comment anything on that? Because
I mean, I agree that not only women, having more diverse, including more disabled people, that is something that Sid would maybe wanted to discuss. Create more diverse teams. It's not just the applications you make. The ideas change. We are very used to, reality is not algorithmic. Reality is not logical. Reality is very complex, and we only crack new ideas when people that are misfits, people that don't fit into the system, bring the new ideas into the system. And it's clear that we got stuck. We are moving in energy, in semiconductors and all that. We're reaching the end of a lot of things. It's unclear, for example, that all these renewable technologies are really that renewable. They're also part of all this big geopolitical change. There's lithium also. You need to dig out the lithium. All the rare earths are controlled by China. All the metals are in Africa or in India or in Russia or in the occupied areas of Ukraine is maybe the richest part with lithium in the world.
Yeah.
So things are very complicated, and I think the only way forward is to create diverse teams that looks for solutions. As Mohan says, Europe should play an important role balancing the powers. But it's unclear. We have no vision. We can see the lack of leadership of countries with Germany, which are very stuck in their energetic policies. They haven't been very honest to their populations and to the rest of the world. So we are in deep trouble right now. And I guess, Mohan is right. We just need diverse teams and multidisciplinary teams with a lot of people from many places. Honesty. I also think honesty is a very important thing that we don't do anymore. We do a lot of politics. Nobody actually digs out the facts. We are used to just compete to get our contract, presenting good stories, but not telling the truth. And I think this is a moment of looking back at the truths, even if we don't like them. Even if lithium is not as good, maybe we should say it. Or maybe nuclear is better than we thought, maybe we should also say it. I think there's a time now for reflecting on truth and digging out real facts. And for that, again, you need diverse teams. Because as soon as you have men all looking the same, the truth they see is very narrow. And the truth is very complex and has many aspects and many hidden aspects. And then you need these disabled people, these women from not very affluent backgrounds, who are going to tell you where the truths are, but not the leaders that all have been going to the same business schools, they all have the same education. They will see a very narrow band of the truth. And I think this is also the reality more than the truth, that this is what I think is an important fact. We need to reflect on reality.
Can I propose
Yes.
that on that note,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know what to do, but I was saying, can we plan a kind of a global conference which we can use, Sonia, I mean, I think either in Oxford or Cambridge or wherever, but it's a global conference. We'll see how we will get it paid. But first, the whole idea of getting a new or a diversity in thought, in strategy, in looking at the future, you gave, various. We're looking for solutions through diversity in ideas or in so. Is it possible to organize something which, your kind of chairmanship? I mean, we will market it. We'll try to get people from developed and developing countries and from science and non-science people. But we play. Why I'm saying that women should play a crucial role in that thinking of this, in kind of. In saying how we can take a leadership in thinking in this particular. That doesn't mean it has to be only women, but I'm just saying overall.
No, women are very important because they deal with children, they deal with the future.
Yeah,
they deal with the future. And they deal with a complex reality. Reality has this analog part and this digital part. And we are very good at the digital part at university because we create metrics, things we can measure. But we all know that the really complex problems of the world are not digital, they are analog. You need this global understanding. The global understanding, you need to bring up a child, right?
Yeah.
And this is what is lacking from our educational systems, and we are too rational. And reality is not rational. We have to be rational, but there are many aspects. And I think it's historical. It also comes from the history of colonization, of domination, of we have to decolonize ourselves. As much as everything else is deconstructing what brought us here, I guess, is what we need to do. Yeah.